Okay, I think it's recording. So let me just make sure we're all squared away here. Okay, so my name is Christine George, and today I'm going to be presenting the Massachusetts judicial system. I'm going to do an overview of each of the court systems within Massachusetts. Massachusetts is known as the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Okay. So here is a picture of the hierarchy of Massachusetts courts. Okay, so from the top, we have the Supreme Judicial Court, and then the hierarchy moving down, we have the Massachusetts Appeals Court, Administrative Office of the Trial Court, which is split into two parts. We have some roles, the Office of the Commissioner of Probation, which I'm really not going to get into in this presentation. It just happens to be in this graphic that I pulled. It is accurate, but I'm not going to be going over that portion. The Office of Jury Commissioner, I'm also not going to be going over that role. So moving down from the Trial Court Administrative Office, we have the Boston Municipal Court Department, the Housing Court Department, Land Court, Superior Court, District Court, and the Juvenile Court, and the Probate and Family Court Department. Okay, so that's just kind of a visual of the hierarchy of the Massachusetts court system. Okay. Just moving to the next slide here. So the Supreme Judicial Court is the highest court in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It was established in 1692. It's the oldest appellate court in continuous existence in the Western Hemisphere. The highest appellate court is the highest appellate court in Massachusetts. Okay. It operates under the oldest functioning written constitution in the world, which is actually kind of a cool fact. Today, the Supreme Judicial Court consists of a Chief Justice and 6 Associate Justices. All justices are appointed by the governor. That appointment is with the consent of the Executive Council, which is basically like the Governor's Council. So it's sort of like a checks and balances. That process is quite interesting and very similar to governmental checks and balances, which is kind of neat. Justices within the Supreme Judicial Court are permitted to hold office until their mandatory retirement age, which is 70. The Supreme Judicial Court hears appeals on a broad range of criminal and civil cases from the month of September through May every year, and hearings may pertain to cases on trial or that are currently on appeal, bail reviews, bar discipline proceedings, petition for admission to the Bar Association, and other statutory proceedings are things that would be heard before the Supreme Judicial Court. It's a tongue twister. Okay, so next we have the Appeals Court. It's the Intermediate Appellate Court. Okay, so this is just below the Supreme Judicial Court. The Massachusetts Appeals Court is the court of general appellate jurisdiction. General appellate jurisdiction simply means, another tongue twister, simply means appeals court justices review decisions made by the trial justices from the departments of the trial courts. So the Department of the Trial Courts, I'm going to go over next, but it's basically 7 trial courts, and they call them departments, essentially. Okay, so that's what they review. They review the decisions made from those courts. There is 1 Chief Justice and 24 Associate Justices that make up the Massachusetts Appeals Court. This court also has the jurisdiction over appeals from final decisions of 3 state agencies. So the Appellate Tax Board, the Industrial Accident Board, and the Commonwealth Employment Relations Board. So those are the 3 agency departments that are also covered here. Okay. Massachusetts trial courts. So moving down the hierarchy, Massachusetts trial courts consist of the executive office and the office of court management. So what that means is the office of the executive office includes staff that supports judicial policy, education, general counsel, research, planning, and several other administrative type responsibilities to ensure it's streamlined. It has a streamlined function, so it's kind of like the moving parts of the engine, like the major parts of the engine that function for trial courts. Secondary to that is the Office of Court Management. It supports 7 trial court departments: District Court, Boston Municipal Court, Housing Court, Juvenile Court, Land Court, Probate and Family Court, and Superior Court. The primary authority of each trial court is a Chief Justice, and parallel to the Chief Justice is the court administrator, who the Office of Court Management reports to. So those are sort of the reporting authorities for those 2 sections, okay? So the next part. So trial courts, district. So these are 2 of the 7 trial courts. I sort of split things up just so it would be a little bit easier to understand, and so we didn't have a million slides because we are limited on time. So the district court hears a wide variety of cases ranging from criminal and civil matters to juvenile and mental health. Criminal jurisdiction involves any felonies with punishments up to 5 years, a 5-year sentence. Additionally, the criminal jurisdiction handles all misdemeanors and any violations of city and town ordinance or bylaws. So on the civil side, cases are tried where damages are seemingly $25,000 or less. This also includes small claims of no more than $7,000 for the civil side. And this again is for district court, okay? There are a total of 62 district courts extending across the counties in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Boston Municipal Court also hears criminal and civil matters, however, exclusively for the city of Boston. So Boston has like sort of what we would call like boroughs, and there are several towns within the city of Boston that the Boston Municipal Court exclusively caters to in regards to hearing legal matters. There are a total of 30 judges residing over 8 court districts. Those are the the separate towns that I mentioned within the city of Boston. In addition to civil and criminal matters, the Boston Municipal Court also has jurisdiction to review some government agency actions such as unemployment compensation, appeals, and firearm license appeals. Okay, so I'm just moving on to the next. Trial court distinctions. So because there are so many and I am limited on time, I want to try to just give you a couple sort of key distinctions between the remaining trial courts of Massachusetts. So housing court handles both civil and criminal cases regarding essentially residential housing. This includes, but is not limited to, eviction cases, civil actions involving personal injury, code and zoning enforcement, okay? Juvenile court oversees civil and criminal matters as well, and that's involving minors, so it's essentially the management of youthful offenders, okay? Land court handles the registration of title and real property, foreclosures and redemptions of real estate tax liens. So they are the authority of the Registry of Deeds offices, okay? Probate and family court, they oversee divorce, child support, custody, adoption, abuse prevention, and wills, just to name a few, okay? So the Superior Court is sort of, I don't want to necessarily say it's a specialty court, but it sort of is. It is a trial court, but it has a more diverse jurisdiction holding and the ability to hear a little bit more robust cases, more availability to diverse cases, particularly with dollar value. The Superior Court it's a statewide court, and it levers criminal and civil actions, as many of the other courts that we just discussed do. The jurisdiction for Superior Court is a general jurisdiction within its legislative authority. There are 82 justices in 20 courthouses spanning over 14 counties in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So there are quite a few. Okay. The original jurisdiction of the Superior Court regarding civil matters is those exceeding $25,000 and where relief is sought for equitable relief. Okay. Superior Court also carries jurisdiction over labor disputes where injunctive relief is also sought. Okay. Lastly, holding exclusive, the Superior Court holds exclusive authority to convene medical malpractice tribunals and appellate jurisdictions over certain administrative proceedings. Superior Court has exclusive original jurisdiction of first-degree murder cases and original jurisdiction of all other crimes. Okay, so it's fair to say that Superior Court has a very robust and diverse jurisdiction within the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. And I think that's it. All right, well, that went quick, huh? Let me just verify really quickly that that was the last one. Okay, so that was the last slide. This was a really interesting presentation to put together, and Massachusetts certainly, with its history and diversity in courts, really offers the people of Massachusetts a broad range of what's the word I'm looking for, ability to resolve their matters and find, a venue that works for whatever their particular matter involves. And that concludes my presentation. Should you have any questions, please feel free to message me. Thank you.